This is PipelineIQ, a real simple and basic, but yet functional CRM with a little thin layer of AI for a real small sales staff, a real small company. Again, you can move things through a Kanban, you can drag and drop, see some visibility of all your sales staff, which ones were closed and won. You can look at the individual companies and the history behind it. You can look at the company details. You can enhance it with AI and the web going out and updating with the latest and greatest information. Same with the contacts, all the information and any history that you have with that contact is captured there. And a dashboard that changes as the Kanban and the pipeline moves. If you move this to closed in one, the dashboard is updated dynamically through there. Again, in just 6 sprints, an hour and a half worth of work. And the thing that's might annoy you a little bit, I mean, if you're a small company like this, a small Salesforce, I mean, you might spend a lot of money with Salesforce or HubSpot or something like that. And the problem with these SaaS solutions, particularly in this day and age, you're only using about 20% of what's the functional, great product out there. Same with HubSpot. But why not buy something or build something that is customized to your workflow? And you can do this. If you've got a hard charger in your organizations, you can use Claude Code and build the tools and spend just time, blood, sweat, and tears in a subscription to Claude or ChatGPT, and you can build something like this. And you don't have to keep buying these out-of-the-box SaaS solutions that are ridiculously expensive, and you're only using a fraction of it. So let me show you how to build something like this. And again, this is just 6 sprints in. You can start tweaking it from there. And about an hour and a half, you've got a fully functional CRM that's pretty simple and easy to use and can give you that visibility that you need. So let's go ahead and build this. And let's start with sprint one. Okay, we're going to do a project in Claude Cowork. I'm just doing a brainstorming session, right? So what you're seeing here, this is not the architect builder method yet. This is just a normal brainstorming session. And I turned on my recorder and I recorded a transcript here of what I want to see in a CRM. I'm going to try to build a CRM that's about 20% of Salesforce, I said. And eventually what you're seeing here is just a discovery session with large language model. That's me talking to it. He's asking me questions. What do you want to see? What's a minimal viable product look like? And again, so all this back and forth. And eventually I'm going to go to my project launcher. You can get the link below, you can buy this. I'm going to create a new project. And there's this box here that says, are you having a conversation with ChatGPT or Claude? And I'm like, yes. I'm going to copy this prompt because when I get further in this conversation, I'm going to paste this prompt in here. I'm going to tell Claude and say, hey, can you help me fill this out? Because I got an intake form I got to fill out for my project launcher. So it's going to ask me some more questions, a back and forth. Again, just brainstorming. There's no right or wrong answers in here. I'm just trying to get as much information I can about what I want to build. And eventually it's going to get that output that I want from that prompt that I took from the project launcher in here, because this is going to help me fill out my intake form. So I'm going to copy this output that he gave me based on my conversation. We're in a good spot now to start the project in the project launcher. So I'm going to copy that output and in this creating a new project, paste it there and fill out my intake form. And that's what it did. This is the easiest way to fill out this intake form. And this intake form is important to create the folder schema for the 120x architect builder method. You can see it answers all these questions. You can type in here too. You can add things. But eventually what we're going to do is when we're done with our intake form, and the more information you have, the better, we're going to create this architect workspace. That's what clicking this blue button here does, is it creates the folder schema that we're eventually going to put on our hard drive. So now a project has been created, a project called PipelineIQ. It's in my project launcher. They all get saved. All your projects are saved in here. And the first thing it says is go run this in your coding tool. But first we got to put this scaffolding, this folder structure on our hard drive. That's what the blue button here is to place it, or you can download a zip and manually place it. But let's just press the blue button and find a location on our hard drive to put this folder schema. I'm going to put it in this builds folder where my other coding projects are. You can put it anywhere you want. And eventually what you can see, if you look at my hard drive in this folder, it's taken that project launcher, created that folder. And if we can find it here, there it is right there at the top. That's the new folder we put. Now that folder has the folders, the markdown files, the agents, the personality of the architect builder method baked into that folder structure so that when we start coding in Claude Code or Codex or whatever, it's going to know what the architect builder method's all about. All right. So now we're going to go into Claude Code. We're going to start this off in Claude Code. I'm going to start a new session. And when we start the new session, we need to make sure that we're in the right folder. I'm not in the right folder here. This is another project. So I need to find the new folder that was just put into my builds folder, which that's what I'm doing right here, and attach it to my Claude Code session. And so I'm going to open that folder. Now we're in the schema. And because I'm in the schema, if you go look at the project launcher, it says the next step is to run this in your coding agent. And if you're using Claude Code, it's /architect. That will generate the agent, the skill set there. If you're in Codex, it's a little different. It's $120x-architect. Or you can use a prompt as a backup. If you're starting in Cursor, Anti-Gravity, or something else, you can paste that prompt and it'll recognize and go read your folder schema and start from there. So we're in Claude Code. So I'm going to put that /architect command in here right now to start the conversation with the architect. So it recognizes the skill set and it attaches and it's starting to work. Now I'm going to rename this over here on the left. I'm going to call it Architect Pack 001, and I'm going to create a group for this. We'll call it PipelineIQ. And now I'm organizing the left. So I'm in the architect conversation. And eventually it's going to bring us up to speed, and it's going to, in plain English, say, hey, I see what you're trying to build here. I'm digging what you're doing. This is what I think we need to focus on. It's acting like an architect. It's helping extract the dream and come up with a detailed set of plans to give the builder so the builder can start coding. The architect is not a coder. The architect is your asset to keep the project on track and to give detailed sets of plans to the builder. This is why we have two separate personalities. And eventually he's given me recommendations. I like him. And he says, if you're ready, your input was so good, let's say generate the pack. So I'm going to tell him, hey, generate the pack. And it's going to generate that first set of instructions, right, that we're eventually going to give the builder. And so that's what's happening here. We're starting the architect process. He's writing the first pack, Architect Pack 001. Now I'll speed this up. It'll take a while for him to eventually get to the point where he's generated the pack. He's got Architect Pack 001 done. And essentially, if you look in the folder schema, if you look in the planning, you can see Architect Packs. There it is. There's the markdown file of 001. Let's just take a look at this. And again, if you're building a house, this would be the detailed set of drawings that you'd give the general contractor. These are our detailed set of plans that we're going to give our builder. And just look at all the detail that you have in here. It's quite a bit. And this is what I love about the architect builder method. You out of the gate, you're getting detailed, disciplined, documented structure. So it's going to be clean. There's going to be no ambiguity. Like right here, here's the blueprint for the builder on how to code, like what's the plan, not the code itself, but like what's the big picture of what we want to do, what's the blueprint, right? Just all this detail is amazing. Okay, and so now this architect pack will generate a sprint. The builder will create a sprint that will correspond to this 001, right? So now that we're done, the architect says next move is start a build conversation with your builder, and it will read basically the detailed instructions in this pack. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start a builder conversation, or a new session, if you will, in Claude Code, and make sure we're in the right folder. We are. And then we're going to hit /build, and it's going to write this skill. It's going to generate this agent that's going to allow the builder to take on that personality. I'm going to rename this Builder Sprint 001, and I'm going to move it into that PipelineIQ group over here. So if you can see on the left, I've got my architect and my builder conversation in that group, all within Claude Code. Now the builder's bringing himself up to speed. He's reading the architect pack, finding out his instructions, what we're wanting to do. Now, this first sprint, there's no code. It's not very sexy. It's a lot of documentation. So he's already done. He's updated. It's really just to get everything organized. And so no code was written here. It's essentially closed out is what he says. And so we're going to go back to the architect here and say, hey, look, Sprint 001 is closed. Let's start Pack 002. And so I'm going to keep the same conversation going because I got a lot of context. I could start a new conversation and hit /architect, but I'm just going to stay with here because we haven't really used up a lot of tokens. And you can see right here in this last sprint, the sprints, you can see now there was 4 files in sprint 001. This is what the builder did. Again, no coding. It was just a lot of documentation. But each sprint is going to have these 4 criteria, or these 4 documents in each sprint. So we're back at the architect. He's reading the briefing. He's bringing it up to speed. He said, hey, this is where we're at. I see recap. This is what I think we should work on next. Here's my recommendations. I could continue the conversation, but I like what he's coming up with. I said, let's just generate the pack and let's get going. So the architect is drawing up the second set of instructions now, right? The first sprint was just a lot of documentation. Now we're going to start writing code. So he's done, and he says, hey, I wrote pack 002, and you can see it's sitting in there. We can read it if we want to. Again, this is the detailed set of instructions we're going to give the builder. This is architect pack 002. We're ready. And he says, now you can start a new conversation. We're going to do that. I'm going to do a new session. I always do a new session with the builder. I don't build on the previous one. Make sure in the right folder, /build, and we're starting that new conversation. I'm going to call it builder sprint 002. I'm going to move it up there just for organization. Now it's reading architect pack 2. Now he's coming up with a plan. Now look right here. He says, stop the code gate. This is part of the architect builder method. This is his plan. This is what he's going to write code against. It's all right here. So I'm going to copy this. He says he's waiting for my explicit approval, right? This is what I love about this. He's not going to create code until we get approval. So I'm going to get a second set of eyes on it. And I'm going to go back to the architect and I say, hey, this is what the builder said. What do you think? And the architect's going to come back. You're going to evaluate it. This is the most powerful, one of the most powerful parts of the architect builder. He's going to say, hey, I like what he's done. Give him this prompt. It's approved with a couple of these caveats. This is what makes it so powerful. I'm going to go back to the builder in sprint 2, and I'm like, hey, dude, you're approved. And now he's on his way, and he's actually starting to write code for the very first time here. So that's what's happening right here, writing code. So he'll continue to write code. You can see he's building the UI and testing it right now. And while he's building that, I'm going to go back to the architect and ask, how many sprints do you see big picture? I could have done that earlier. But here's the big picture of what we're looking at. We're looking at 6 sprints total to get to the minimal viable product that we kind of defined in our brainstorming and discovery sessions. So that's just nice to know. So back to the builder. He's continued to build out, and eventually he's going to get done. And when he's done, the builder does probably one of the most important things to close the loop. He updates this file called the architect briefing as one of a few files, but the architect briefing closes that loop between the builder and the architect. So any coding agent, any human being, if you stopped right here for the moment, you'd know exactly where you stand, and you tell the architect exactly what we did. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to copy this output saying he's done with his sprint. I'm going to go back to the architect saying, hey, he says he's done. And so he's going to read everything. He's going to read the architect briefing. He's going to say, yep, sprint 2 is in the books. Here's what I recommend for sprint number 3. And when you're ready, generate the pack. Now I'm going to do a little different. To show you that this is tool agnostic. Instead of continuing Claude Code, why don't we start with another coding agent? And so in this case, I'm going to pick Cursor. And so I'm going to open up Cursor here, which is what I'm doing. And all I need to do is just like I do in any coding agent, whether it's Codex or here or Claude Code, I need to attach the folder that we're working on to the project. So now it's there. I'm going to use their Grok model, and I hit /architect, and we just start discovery, just like he knows exactly where we're at. I say, what are recommendations? He said, this is what I think we should do. When you're ready, generate the pack. And that's what I'm going to tell it to do. Just generate the pack. And I'm doing just like I did in Claude Code. He's writing the pack just like Claude Code did. And when it's done, we're just going to continue that process and start a builder conversation. He says he's done. So I'm going to start a new conversation, call it, and do /build and rename it builder sprint 003. And we're just continuing the same process in a different coding agent, a different tool. So again, this is tool agnostic. You can use anything you want, and you can pick up anywhere that you want. Now, one other tool or aspect that I want to show you about while this is building, and you can see that he's building the UI and continuing on, is in the mission control in the project launcher. You can connect any project that you're working on and get an instantaneous update of status of where you're at. You can see it's got the architect briefing. It's showing you what's going on. It shows you the status of where it's at. The sprint is closed. Take it back to your architect, which we did. And as the project updates in real time, You can, again, read all your folders and see your file structure and read all your markdown documents in here as well. So again, just another feature of the project launcher that you can see where you're at and what you're supposed to work on in your project. So again, we'll continue to let this build happen, and we're just essentially rinsing and repeating until the sprints are all done. And essentially, I'm going to speed it up here, and what you're seeing is I continued in cursor, but went through all the remaining 6 sprints back and forth using the same architect builder method until we had a minimal viable product and we were completely done. So there it is, 6 sprints, about 90 minutes of work to get what you're seeing right here. It's a real working CRM. It's not Salesforce, doesn't pretend to be. Salesforce is a wonderful program, huge, but almost every organization that I've dealt with and I've consulted with over the years has said they hardly use but maybe 15 to 20% of it. And that's so true with all these SaaS solutions. And those days of the SaaS solutions are over. You can build whatever you want with pennies on the dollar. If you got somebody in your organization, you can do this with just a basic max subscription with one of the large language models like Claude or ChatGPT. And I'll be straight with you what this is and what this isn't. This is a starting block. 6 sprints, 90 minutes, it's functional. And you can keep tweaking it and making it better and keep adding new features. Using that architect builder method, there's nothing stopping you from making this. If you wanted to make it like Salesforce at some point, you actually could. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. But look at what 90 minutes just bought you, right? The ability to have a nice Kanban, a thin layer of AI as you're looking at your companies and updating it. You can re-enrich it with the AI. You can ask AI about your sales solutions. And then a simple little dashboard. Again, you can build upon this and keep adding things. You can set up the automatic emails. You can set up the notifications. You can do all kinds of things. But this is starting. 6 sprints, 90 minutes. You can build this yourself. You can build the part that you actually need, and it can be customized to your workflow. And you can learn how to do this yourself you can go grab my operators kit for free, get on my email list. It's free, the full methods in the 120X operators kit. Or you can use the project launcher, which I demonstrated in this video. Again, it helps you. Setting up that scaffolding is the hardest part, and the project launcher is going to get you there quick. I hope you could see in the demo how I did that. And then once you get it set up in that scaffolding, doing that brainstorming with a large language model, then bringing it into the 120X project launcher, getting that scaffolding, and then you can start that architect builder conversation. You can build whatever you want, and it's organized, it's disciplined. It's keeping everything organized. You're not going to get lost in this mess. You can build whatever you want. If you don't want to build it alone, I can build it with you. You can join my cohort, or you can bring me in your company and I can create this thing for you too. I'm a solo software company using this exact method, big or small. It works for all of it. Either way, stop renting the software. The days of the SaaS solutions are over. You don't need to buy those out-of-the-box things. You can build whatever you want and customize for what you need for pennies on the dollar. And just stop renting that software. Start doing this. You can do this. Go build the part that you want to build. Solve that problem, erase that bottleneck, and get going. So I'm Ray, I'm the Solo Software Factory, and I'll see you on the next build.